first of all, I would like to thank Anjali ma'am to give me this opportunity because she's the one to introduce me to IWN. And first of all, I just want everybody to clap for yourself. So I'll come back to that as why I said that clap for yourself. I'll come back at the end. But thank you, ma'am, for introducing me. Yes, I'm Jaahnavi Sriperambuduru. Yeah, it's a very big title, though. It's on my nameplate. And I am just 16, and I am the youngest mountaineer and a professional guide from India. And I have started my adventure career when I was 10 months old. I didn't start it, I was introduced to the sport when I was at that age, tender age. So it was my father who got this idea of taking me into the wilderness, making a super girl, because he been traveling, and my father's another person, like, you just ask him and he's done whatever you want to know about him. So he's not actually here because he's not well. But for whatever I am today, it's all the support of my dad, because from the time I was born, from 5 months, I was with my dad more than my mom. He used to carry me on his shoulders. He used to stitch bags for himself, because now you have the baby carrying bags ready-made. But then back then in 2001, you never really had them. So he used to sit down all night to stitch. He used to check whether my neck was comfortable, because when you walk in the forest, the baby's neck was very tender. So he used to take care of all those little things. And my mother was always supportive. She's never said no to anything, because she had that trust in my dad, because my father is a very different person, and he's been doing a lot of things. So my grandma keeps telling all the naughty stuff. You know, he keeps climbing the trees more often. And my journey started when I was 10 months, yes, and I started guiding from when I was 2 years old. I was the assistant to my father. So my dad used to conduct various treks to many school children and other adults. So I used to accompany him there. And then he gave me options in life. So apart from mountaineering, I'm also a classical dancer. I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer, and I also go for professional drawing and painting classes. I can also say I'm an artist. Not professional one, but then it's my hobby. And by the age of 10 years, I nearly completed most of the adventure activities, except of the parasailing and except the skydiving and the scuba diving or whatever, the bungee jumping. But I've done rock climbing, I've done parasailing, I've done everything. You just name it and I've done it. And in life, I believe, people ask me, don't you fear? So there was this one incident where I had a live telecast and I had to climb the sports wall. You must have known the artificial rock climbing wall. So I finished climbing and the reporter comes and asks me, don't you fear? And I immediately said, what is fear? And then he comes back to my dad and he asks, what is your daughter talking like that in front of a live telecast? How can she ask someone what does fear mean? So my dad said, I brought her up like that, not knowing what fear is about. Because mountaineering, yes, it is a life risk sport. But is there a guarantee that you are safe even here? Is there a guarantee? Anything can happen anytime. So what is the fear of doing anything else in life? So I have that perception in life that you don't need to fear anything, because when you fear something, you cannot achieve what you want to. So if I would have been scared of something I was doing, then I wouldn't have been standing here today, or I wouldn't have been achieving what I would have done. So I started taking up mountaineering or trekking. Firstly, I started on with trekking. So trekking, I've taken it up when I was 8 years old. So I understood what exactly I was doing and what was my father trying to introduce me to. And then when I was 9 years old, that was when I started my actual trekking. Me and my dad, we have decided, yes, I was into dancing, I was into singing, I went to Carnatic music, I've done all sorts of activities. And this mountaineering and trekking I felt there was something different in this. I felt there's something unique. So when I started going from the age of 9, I started to see something different. Like, I was the only little tiny tot from the entire crowd, from the entire team, and everybody is like, what is this girl doing here? My father used, all the others used to, criticize my father. Like, my father is by profession, he's a mental health doctor. So people used to, criticize him, mental doctor does mental things. But that really boosted us. If you are kind of mad and something like that, then only you can do something like crazy stuff. So even I feel, yes, I am crazy. You ask me to jump from a 25 feet skydive, I can. I am ready, because that is my next dream. That is my next plan. You ask me to do anything, I'm just ready. Because I believe in myself. If I do not believe in myself, I don't believe myself, I cannot go anywhere. So I started going, and then I came across this mission to climb the highest peaks of the 7 continents. And then I discussed with my parents, and they said, if you are willing to do it, then we will always there to support you. So when I was 12 years old, so that was the first summit I've summited, and that was Africa's highest peak, Mount Kilimanjaro. And I've created a record of being the youngest girl from Asia and India to climb at the age of 12, and also hold the record of father and daughter duo, because my dad always accompanies me on my expeditions. And coming to Kilimanjaro, I can say that was the first peak where I have understood that when you are strong with your mind, there is nothing can stop you. There is nothing which can stop you. So this was, I'll just quote an incident, I can say, not an incident, but the experience of the final summit push. So we call this the summit push because from the base, we go to the highest point on the mountain. So we started around 11 p.m. on October 1st, and I kept walking, and all of a sudden, I just sat down. My body was in a position that if I take another 2 steps, I would collapse. I didn't have energy. My body was completely drained because I didn't have proper food the previous night, because they have served us something different which we don't eat. So I started talking to myself. So I normally have the habit of talking to myself when I feel, lonely, or if I'm not able to do something. So I started talking to myself that I need to do this, I have to do this, I can do this. And then I took a sip of water, I stood up. I took a few more steps, but I sat down again. And few things, when I sat down, it suddenly hit my conscious. Those few things were my hard work, my sacrifices, my family's hard work, and all those people behind me who were supporting me and who believed in me that this girl is going to come out with flying colors. I didn't want to let them down. Because my father, I know how much hard my father struggled. Because mountaineering, yes, it is a very expensive sport. And we have sold out everything. Now I've done out 4 peaks. We have shelled down each and everything in our house, and we don't have anything left to shell down for our next expeditions. We have given off everything. We sold our house, our car, my mom's jewelry, everything. My parents believed in me. So that movement, I strongly told myself again, I have to do this. I can do this. And in the next few minutes, I was on top of Mount Kilimanjaro with the Indian flag on 2nd October. Normally when we go on an expedition, we normally plan on an auspicious day. So it was Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary, so we planned according to that because Gandhiji was also associated with Africa. So that is how we plan. And coming to the second peak, I just go quick. So the second peak, I went all by myself. It was with a group of 10 people from India. So a few months back, this was in 2015. So I summited Mount Elbrus in the year 2015 on July 31st. becoming the world's youngest girl to do at the age of 13 years. And this peak I did all alone. My father wasn't there by my side because in March 2015, my dad was diagnosed with last stage of lung cancer, and I didn't know what to do because I couldn't do anything. And my father only said that I am there with you till you complete your peaks. It doesn't matter what happens or anything, I am there with you. So I had that motivation with me, and I thought I have to do this. And I did that, and I was like, okay, I am on Mount Elbrus, and yes, I made my dad proud. And then in the same year, I flew to Australia. That was my third summit. So third summit was a smaller peak. It was just 2,228 meters. So I also did the Aussie 10 challenge, which is to climb the 10 highest peaks of the Soin mountain range in 4 days. So this time my dad accompanied me, and he summited Mount Kosciuszko along with me, and I can proudly say that he's the first cancer patient to climb Mount Kosciuszko along with me. And the next year, in 2016, I went to Mount Denali. That is the highest peak of North America. So let me tell you, Mount Denali is such a peak. I realized that I was headstrong in achieving anything in life. Leave about Kilimanjaro, leave about Elbrus, Kosciuszko, anything. But Denali is such a peak. I cannot express the difficulties of that peak because, yes, this time also my dad came halfway and he had to come back because of financial problems. But then this was a quest from 14,000 feet to 17,000 feet, where you hardly can stand with both your feet parallel on that way. That is a ridge, and either of the sides you have got nothing to hold, and you are just walking on that narrow ridge, and hardly you have to stand with one leg forward and one leg behind. And I must say, you need to have guts to face that. You need to have guts. So I thought that, yes, I am capable of doing anything. And this peak is also considered to be tougher than Mount Everest, irrespective of its climatic conditions, its terrain, and everything about the mountain. And it is also tougher than Mount Everest. You can count only 5 climbers from India who have scaled Mount Denali, and Mount Everest, there are more than 40 climbers from India, and you can understand the difficulties level of this mountain. So while coming back, on my way back, my body was so tired that I literally had a sore thigh. I couldn't even lift my leg. So even in the tent, to get into my sleeping bag, I had to catch my leg and put it aside, and then put it aside to walk. I was literally dragging my leg on the snow with that snowshoe which we had. So I was like, this is not happening with me. This is not happening with me. And then again, I started talking to myself. I felt that my dad is with me. Whatever my dad used to motivate me on my climbs, I used to tell it to myself as if my dad is speaking to me. So I have these kind of weird habits. So if you kind of see me sitting alone, you see my mouth moving because I start talking to myself. So these are the 4 peaks which I've done. Yeah, as ma'am has mentioned, my mission is also to educate the underprivileged girls, and not only give the girl the education, but also give her the life skills. Giving education, it doesn't mean you just hold a certificate, you don't get anything. If somebody is going for an interview, the person says, introduce yourself. The person starts speaking, my name is this, so and so, I'm good in this, I'm good at that. My hobbies are this, my hobbies are that. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for your qualities. Are you able to recognize your abilities in what you're good at? Until and unless someone tells you you're good at this, you're good at that, you don't realize. So I want to give that girl the life skills so that she can stand on her own feet. Rather than we giving her what to do, let her come out and ask, what does she want to do in life? Once she realizes what she wants. So that is my other mission. So that's little story of mine, and I relate my life to a big canvas. So these are all the little colors and shades which I keep adding onto my life of canvas. And yes, there's a lot of other things to be left to complete on that, but then it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of sacrifice to complete the canvas, and it is all a palette. So you keep mixing colors, you keep adding colors, and you just paint it off. So thank you.